Lives uprooted, forever linked to the Bruce McArthur investigation. I'm Adrian Ghobrial. Yesterday on City News, Ron Smith and his partner Karen Fraser gave us a tour of their Leaside property on Mallory Crescent. It was part of the largest forensics investigation in our city's history, and it was literally torn apart. Tonight, for the first time, we met not one but two couples who graciously gave them a place to live when they were suddenly forced out of their home into the streets on the cold winter morning of January 18th.
They said, you have to leave your house now. I beg your pardon. There's been a serious crime. Bruce McArthur's been arrested. Get out.
McArthur, a gardener, had used the couple's garage for 10 years to store his equipment. In return, he would maintain their lawn and garden, even adding multiple flower arrangements in their backyard. It was in some of those flower pots where the remains of 7 different men would be discovered by Toronto police, though those grisly details had yet to be unearthed as Ron Smith and Karen Fraser were abruptly being shown the door and ordered to go down to Toronto Police 51 Division.
Off to the police station you go?
Yes, and they gave us the wrong address. So there was total chaos. They didn't have the search warrants.
We're sitting there and wondering what's going on.
And finally, we were questioned, separately, of course.
Yeah.
They were separately grilled by police about their whereabouts on multiple dates.
So they asked me all these questions, and in the end I said, okay, am I allowed to ask now what's going on?
How have you handled this?
Day by day, moment by moment.
It was in that moment the magnitude of their situation began to sink in. Ironically, the couple, who for years have run a charity that distributes sleeping bags to those on Toronto's streets, found themselves out in the cold. Victim Services reached out and only offered them one single night in a shelter. That's when they called Ron's squash buddy of 40 years, Norman Leach, and his partner, Mary Huron.
And I looked at Mary and I said, Mary, do you want to go down this path? Because they said it was only going to be for a couple of days. And we thought, no, we're here, we'll help you. They're friends of ours, and we'll do it, no questions asked. They show up at the door with a couple of garbage bags, which shocked us.
Bags in hand, 2 days turned into about 2 weeks. Through those days, the 4 friends found therapy in laughter as they watched and learned, as we all did, about what was being discovered inside flower pots on the property of Ron and Karen's home on Mallory Crescent.
Did it ever cause you to pause and be like, you know, could our friends be involved in this?
Never ever thought that at all. That's an interesting question.
It's a situation none of us have really ever had.
Well, you know, it goes to the point when you're in the middle of something like this, it's interesting who you hear from. It's even more interesting who you don't hear from.
In total, they were forced out of their house for 22 days. Ahead on City News, we're going to meet the extraordinary strangers who welcomed not only Ron and Karen into their home, but their feline companions as well. What would you do if you were told to suddenly leave your house by police? Leave your personal possessions, your pets, your life at home as you know it. That's exactly what happened to Ron Smith and Karen Fraser when they received a visit from 2 officers on the brisk morning of January 18th, 2018. Their home was about to become the scene of the largest forensics investigation in Toronto's history. Alleged serial killer Bruce McArthur had just been arrested. Tonight, we speak exclusively with 2 extraordinary strangers who stepped up to help a couple in need and their feline family members.
When a mutual neighbor called and said that Ron and Karen, and I said, who?
Similar to Ron and Karen, Hilka and David Shaban are self-professed cat people. The couples live a few blocks apart and shared some passing waves and some small talk, but that was about it. A mutual neighbor reached out to the Shabans to see if they would be able to house Ron and Karen's cats.
Maybe Ron and Karen should come down and have a look and see if what I'm offering would be suitable. So when they did, they said, well,
just cats.
We have 3 empty bedrooms, so not only were we able to take all the cats, but there was another nice bedroom that we could take the owners too.
It was important.
Yeah.
You think what you did was completely neighborly?
Sure.
I think others, and perhaps Ron and Karen might think it was somewhat
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
More than neighborly.
It just seemed, oh, here's somebody that needs some help, and we can help.
The first night, I remember it well, not knowing each other, just kind of, okay, how do we do this? How do we not impose on you terribly at that stage being one of the key things for us. And they made us feel welcome, and by day 2, it was incredible.
And of course, food was a great common denominator.
Yes, it was.
What a bunch of foodies we are, everyone we know.
I do remember saying when you first came here that if we come home one evening and you're laying on the couch and you poured yourself a drink from the bar, then I'll know you're feeling at home here.
And yes, there is scotch.
So
The common denominator.
Did you ever stop and be like, geez, we've let these people in, could they somehow be tied to this? There's remains on their property.
No.
the only time
Did that ever cross your
I
mind?
thought of it
Not
was
really.
when my sister that lives in Ohio said, "But how do you know that they're not involved in
Oh,
this?"
how American.
And I said to her, "I don't.
That's what he thought. Yes.
I don't know."
You guys have now created a bond.
Yes.
Yep.
You've got 2 new
Good one.
friends.
Great one.
2 new friends likely for life. Is there anything you'd like to say to them following your stay here and the help you received at a time of need?
It's very simple. We love you both very much.
Oh.
Yes.
And cannot
love you back.
believe
Goes
the kindness
both
you
ways.
showed us. And we're so grateful.
Ron and Karen say there's been upwards of 100 people who've helped them in several different ways over the last 10 months. And aside from their recent experience, they also believe there's never been a more important time for us to create bonds and relationships with each other right here in our city. I'm Adrian Ghobrial for City News.